So let's talk about all these parts. What is a niche? Okay, that's the first question I'm going to ask you. What is a niche? Okay, because there's a lot to it. It's a distinct segment of the population that has passionate and strong motivation to express one's way of seeing the world. This niche passion often inspires the person to demonstrate their passion by wearing or using products that show others their ideas about a particular subject. Okay, so this could be people who like whales or cats or motorcycles or whatever it is they're passionate about. So then we talk about how you're going to pick a niche. Here's the first step in doing it. It's got to be a strong passion. Okay, you can't say, well, I want to target people who wear tank top shirts. Okay, I mean, they may like them, but I don't know how passionate you're going to be about wearing a tank top shirt. Okay, just, and where would you ever find those people? So it's got to be a really, really strong passion about something, whatever it is. People who are, passionate about trees. I'm going to show you a woman in just a second about that who's passionate about saving trees. Okay, she may be a little too over passionate, by the way. Must be a large enough audience. Okay, um, you can have some really super passionate people, but if the audience is too tiny, you're not going to be able to target them. So you got to kind of think about that. Or if it's too broad, you're not going to be able to target them either, like the people who like to wear tank tops. It must be a Facebook group about the niche. Now, I used to say, you should be able to find some, or if you can find some, it helps. Now I just flat out say, if there's not a Facebook group about your niche, you need to quit right there, because there are Facebook groups about every niche now that there's enough people to get together. So, I mean, if you can't find a Facebook group about your niche, I would say don't go down that road. You must be able to sell related or demonstrative type products. When I say demonstrative, products that actually show that niche, okay, that demonstrate how strong they feel about that. And here's a woman who is really passionate, really passionate about her niche. Her niche is loving trees. She's so in love with a tree. I don't know if she's really had sex with the tree, but she, I think, married the tree. I would not recommend you going after these people, though there's probably a Facebook group for them. But some niches, some people are just weird, okay? And you're probably not going to find enough people like her to target, but there are people like her out there. Now, this product here sold millions of dollars of this particular product, and they say that it saved their marriage. This product actually saved their marriage. And the headline was Saved My Marriage. Okay, now I'm not going to give you the text to this, but it was really silly. But I want to point out a few things about this product, because that's just a plastic thing that you set down over a banana, and I guess they assume every banana is that shape. So I don't even think it'd work on most bananas, because you'd have to find a banana that's exactly fits that thing. But it must be small and lightweight. Why do I say that? Because this is your initial product we're talking about. This is the product we're talking about where you're actually trying to gain customers that you never had before, okay? So it's got to be small and lightweight, especially if it's a physical product. If it's digital, obviously it doesn't matter. Next, it must be able to be purchased for under $20. Do not try to go out and hit a cold audience with a $50, $60, or $100 item. You're probably not going to be successful. Now, somebody's going to say, well, I know somebody who sold them. Okay, there's always an exception to the rule, but I would rather go with the majority. Okay, why go against the majority? The majority of the time says you're going to have a product that is going to be under 20 bucks. It's got to be unusual. So far this product fits that, doesn't it? It's small, lightweight, could be purchased under 20 bucks, and it's unusual. So, if it's a common thing, like an ink pen, people probably aren't going to buy your product. They can get ink pens anywhere. Doesn't matter. So it's going to be a little bit unusual. And it must be difficult to find, okay? So your product, like, that banana slicer there, I don't know, this ran in 2012, that's probably not something you're going to see on the standard shelf, right? It was something a little bit different. And it doesn't have to be entirely different where you can't find it anywhere, but just a little different where you wouldn't find it in the store. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the next step of how to pick your audience. All right, they must have at least 500,000 or greater. Now, some people will argue this and say, well, I did it 300,000, 350. Well, maybe you could, but we're trying to have some benchmarks here, okay? And if you have 500,000, then it's going to be a little bit more sustainable. You'll be able to sell to them for a longer period of time, because understand, all ads run their course. It doesn't matter what the product is in history. You know, if you look at Coca-Cola, you look at McDonald's, you look at Burger King, they're always changing their ads because after a while, people get ad fatigue and your ad's going to stop working. So maybe your ad's going to work for a week or 2 weeks, or maybe it'll work for several years. It could, but it will die out. If you have too small of an audience, you're going to constantly need to look for audiences. That's why I say 500,000 or more. You're also going to want to look in Facebook groups and pages to help you find your audience. And you can combine some of this to come up to 500,000. It doesn't have to be one singular one. It should be on the upswing or level on Google Trends. So you do want to go to Google Trends and see what's going on. Now, here's one that I did just a few days ago, and I searched a nuclear shelter. Now, look what's recently been going on with a nuclear shelter. There's been a lot of talk with North Korea and Trump and all that, and that's kind of gone off the charts as far as people searching for nuclear shelters. So if you got nuclear shelters, now's the time to sell them. Now, maybe not now because he went over there to Singapore and supposedly they made up, and I don't know, whatever's going on over there. If you notice in the past few days, all of a sudden that went down because he went to Singapore and it went down and people weren't as interested. Back in January, they were really concerned. Last June, they were really concerned. But if you see May going into June this year, they don't care much about it anymore. So, you know, it ran its course. All right. So this is not 4 ways to offer a product. This is number 4, ways to offer a product, because there's actually 5 that are going to come up on the screen, okay? So it must solve a problem. If you're not solving problems out there, you're not really selling products, okay? Because that's really what you should be doing, is solving somebody's problem. It's got to offer some type of solution. You know, maybe they're looking for a solution to do something, okay? That's another thing you could do, is offer solutions for something that somebody's trying to figure out how to do. Like, you know, mine was, you know, trying to find products to sell online. Well, there's 4 steps to doing that. And with my book, they can grab that book and figure out ways to find products to sell online. It can make something easier. So maybe they're already doing something, but maybe it's difficult. And if you think about all the kitchen gadgets that have been sold over the years, you know, that basically cut stuff, you know, there's all kinds of hand choppers and slicers and dicers, but all those products supposedly make cutting something easier, because pretty much everything you need to cut in the kitchen, you could do it with a knife. I mean, a knife will pretty much do it. You know, if you want to blend with a knife, that'd be a little difficult, but for the most part, you could do it. Or it could make it cheaper to do something. So let's say you have a method or a way or a product that makes things cheaper, easier to do. Okay? Or it could be quicker. You know, like, you know, I could chop up an onion with a knife, but I could put it in a little chopping machine and maybe it does it so much faster. So that's why I would buy it, okay, to do it a lot quicker than I had been doing it. All right, so now we're on to the actual text of the ad. Next important step, because all these things work together, like I told you in the beginning. So you may want to call out a group of people who tried something. And then it's kind of like that Me Too solution. Like if you notice in the ad that I just showed you that I ran for the book, it's like, have you ever tried to run an ad and not succeeded? You know, so I was calling out that group. It can also tell a story. You can have an ad that actually gets into a story. You know, I remember when I did blah, 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 and you can combine these things. So I called out a group and I actually told a little bit of a story in that ad too. It can give proof of success, which I also did. You know, I talked about, you know, a couple of people in there who tried using, you know, finding a product and, you know, results they got. So you can do that. Now you've got to be careful on Facebook because they do have rules about this stuff. You know, you can't do like before and after pictures and stuff like that. You can't use testimonials, which I did not. I just talked about people. Offer incredible savings or a deal. You know, the more awesome your deal is, the better chances you're going to have of actually selling your product. I'm doing one now for a continuity course that I'm doing. And I mean, it's just an incredible deal. I mean, it's like they get all kinds of stuff. They get software and they get memberships and they get training and they get all, and it's for $1. They only have to pay $1. Okay, so it's like a really incredible deal. Next thing is your image. Now, the image is probably the most important thing you're going to put out there. And the shame of this is I see a lot of new people who go into AliExpress and they get the images that the manufacturer has and they slap them up on Facebook and they go, my ad didn't work. No, 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 no. You've got to have a much better image than that. And I would suggest anybody who's selling a product from AliExpress to get it shipped to you first and check it out. Take your own pictures. You can do some cool stuff with it. You know, if it's jewelry, you can have somebody wearing it, or if it's a gadget, you can do a video of it working. So it's got to be maybe shocking, you know, something that's really going to shock me. And I'm going to show you some really shocking images in just a second. It could be surprising, something that you wouldn't imagine that product could do. It could be a funny image, right? We all love funny stuff. Think about how much people watch cat videos. It could be counterintuitive. So, you know, it's showing something that it's just the opposite of what you would assume it to be. Like I said, it could also be a product in action if you're actually using it. Maybe it is a chopper for the kitchen, and you're showing how quickly it does stuff. Now, you want to use little or no text on your images. I've gone to almost no text on any of my images now. Facebook only allows 20%, but I will tell you what they do is they show it to less people, the more text